Final logistical and security arrangements are being made as Washington gets ready for Saturday's G20 Economic Summit at the National Building Museum. The man in charge of planning the logistics, Spencer Geisinger.
As you know, we had 18 months to plan the G8 Summit in Sea Island, Georgia, and we've had a little over 24 days to plan a much larger event right here in the middle of Washington, D.C. At the same time, an inaugural is being planned and other events are taking place here in Washington. So it was a major challenge to coordinate all this through the Washington, D.C. Authorities, the mayor's office, the police department, fire department. At the same time, planned for over 20 delegations to arrive from all over the world and coordinate their arrivals and their departures and their translation requirements and their office space requirements, and then just plan out the venue, set it up for the meeting itself and everything that goes into that.
On Pennsylvania Avenue, there's evidence of the planning for the two big events, the inauguration, and on the north portico, the curtain has gone up in advance of the Friday night dinner for the world leaders in town for the summit. What's the table going to look like?
It's a square table. Each leader will be seated at the table. Alongside them will be their finance minister, and then behind them they'll have two support staff. They're what's referred to as their Sherpa, and the deputy finance minister will sit behind each leader.
Detail is what Geisinger does. Here he is in Seoul, South Korea earlier this year on a trip planning for a presidential visit. This was planning for a Bush visit to the Korean equivalent of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
I guarantee you they're going to take pictures from him from the time he gets out of that car until the time he gets back in that car. All the way up the ramp and all the way down the ramp.
So we'll put the press on this side, okay? Okay.
Because they're going to be...
No detail is too small for meticulous planning. Here it talks about how Bush would sign the guest book.
W. Bush. The state visit of the President of the United States of America and Mrs. George W. Bush. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's your measure of success? When it's over, how will you know if your job went well?
If the President says, good job, that's when I'll know that we did a good job.
Ken Herman, Cox Newspaper's Washington Bureau, at the site of the G20 Economic Summit.